Storm gods gathered to decide Storm's fate, but the most powerful mutant on Earth had already made her choice. She would hold back no longer. Instead, she would unleash all her fury, all her power, on anyone who stood in her way. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video we're covering everything that went down in Storm number 11, the second chapter of the Thunder War. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The chapter opens in the heart of the neutral realm shared by all pantheons, where gods from every corner have assembled. Among them, Susanoo, Beta Ray Bill, Indra, Seth, and even a newly resurrected Zeus. You probably noticed, the hall was filled with storm deities drawn from a wide range of mythologies, and they were all there for a single reason: to decide the fate of a mortal, the fate of Aurora Monroe, the mutant who dared to call herself the goddess of Earth's storms. While Zeus awaited their verdict, the scene shifts back to Madripoor. Galactus had been taken down by infinity like a crushed soda can flung from the sky, and his cosmic energy was being drained by agents of the FBI. Wasting no time, Bishop launched himself at the government agents in an effort to help Galactus, leaving a frightened Jaden behind. While the mutant held the line on one front, Storm faced off against infinity with everything she had held back until now. She abandoned all restraint and released her full power. Her fury made the tectonic plates grind against one another, causing the earth to tremble. Gateway rushed to evacuate the fallen mutants, and with a deafening roar, Storm spewed out blue flames, making it clear her wrath knew no bounds. That blast from Storm pierced straight through Infinity's body, from back to chest, and for the first time, the so-called infinite entity felt finite. From that moment on, Aurora asserted herself, reminding Infinity that every element was under her command and that she was a goddess. Storm then revealed that Eternity, her brother, had taken over her body against her will. He had used her as a vessel for destruction, forcing her to witness, helplessly, the death of everyone she loved. She explained that this wasn't power, it was slavery. What made her a goddess wasn't the control over the elements or the massive power she held, but the fact that nothing and no one could control her. Now fallen and defeated, Infinity admitted how empty she felt without her brother. She confessed that without him, it was hard to even hold herself together. That's why she asked Storm to destroy her if she had the strength to do it, because ending it would bring her peace. And in fact, we see Storm had already summoned what looked like a lightning-infused spirit bomb, capable of obliterating the entity. But just then, Galactus brought Jaden to Storm. Observing the moment, the Devourer of Worlds acknowledged that Storm had broken free from Eternity's influence, but was now being consumed by her own emotions, something even more dangerous than any cosmic being. According to him, Infinity wasn't seeking destruction. She was just in pain. When Storm looked at the boy, tears streamed down her face, especially after he told her that too many lives had already been lost today. Meanwhile, the gods were casting their votes. When Zeus asked who supported joining forces with Storm and the mutants to protect the universe, only Beta Ray Bill raised his hand. Then, when Zeus asked who favored allying with Hadad I in his quest for vengeance against the universe, all the other storm gods raised their hands. This infuriated Beta Ray Bill, who called the vote insanity. He reminded them of their legendary feats, how some of them had defeated leviathans and other mythic monsters. They were saviors, not accomplices to destruction. Their purpose was to protect the universe, and if they truly allied themselves with Hadad, the real enemy, they would be burying everything they had ever stood for. However, the other gods raised their voices in defiance. They questioned why Eternity had chosen Storm as his avatar instead of any of them. They claimed to have tested the mortal, trying to turn her into diamond, but saw only rubble. That's why now they wanted to destroy everything and rebuild a new universe from the ashes, side by side with Hadad. In his fury, Beta Ray Bill summoned his hammer and turned against the dissenting gods, ready to knock some sense into them. But that's when reality hit them. Because while the storm gods argued over which side of the Thunder War they should join, the Black Winters made the choice for them, on Hadad's side. Odin whispered the omen, and Susanoo was the first to fall. There was no middle ground. In the Thunder War, there are only two sides, Hadad's side and the side where the corpses pile up. Yes, Hadad doesn't turn wives into widows. Hadad doesn't turn children into orphans. When Hadad enters a universe, everyone dies. And at that very moment, Hadad, riding atop his Leviathan, crossed the edge of the universe, bringing extinction with him. Meanwhile, at the Hospital of the Otherworldly, Gateway had taken the heroes who were attacked in the previous issue. One of them was in surgery, while Maggot, who seemed to be dead, might still have a chance. Now infused with Omega-level power, some hoped he might be reborn in a new form. Storm, however, blamed herself. She felt that if she had accepted the help offered to her, maybe Maggot and Eden would still be standing. But Gateway reminded her that the present shapes the future, just as the past shapes the present. And now it was time to shape something better, a better universe. Meanwhile, at the House of Ideas, two figures met. Eternity, finally revealed, stood before none other than the one above all. A rare encounter, one that could change everything. Eternity had come to ask his father for help in the fight to save the universe. Later, Storm met with the Silver Surfer Soot. He explained that Oblivion had been eliminated, that Eternity had abandoned the universe, and that now, death was simply death. Hadad, on the other hand, was dividing the forces of the cosmos, spreading the Black Winters, his shadowy heralds. The threat was so immense that even the Phoenix was forced to return home to defend the Forge of Creation, and the Scarlet Witch, alongside the Never Queen, stood guard over the land of possibilities to keep magic and creativity alive. With the gods falling and the multiverse collapsing, everything pointed to one last hope. Storm was the final line of defense. Galactus and Silver Surfer Soot would help Infinity and her avatar, Quasar, hold off the Black Winters for as long as possible. And during that time, Storm would need to gather all the courage and strength she had to face the storm god Hadad alone in a final battle that would decide the fate of everything. In the end, it wasn't the gods who decided Storm's fate, it was Storm herself. While Zeus called for votes and Beta Ray Bill shouted against the chaos, Storm was already at war, against Infinity, against her past, against everything that had been forced upon her. She unleashed all her power and managed to defeat one of the most powerful entities in the Marvel Universe. But that victory tastes bitter, because while the gods are still divided, Hadad has already arrived. The Black Winters have chosen their side, and the true storm is still coming. If you don't want to miss the next chapters, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like, because that really helps us keep bringing you these stories. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next adventure.